can tell everyone. What's up, people?
Hey.
Welcome to Meet About Podcast.
Hi. We'll get our show started in just a second here. We're getting a little prep finished up.
Yep, we just gotta tell everyone that we're live. But hey, if you're watching us and it's been recorded already,
then we are.
Thanks for dropping by.
That's true.
Yeah, we're gonna get right into this real quickly in about a minute. Copy the link. Go over and Hootsuite.
Copy that link.
Okay, Zelda.
What?
Copy that link.
Copy that, comma, link.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one.
Just like love, comma, Simon.
Love, comma, sign. We'll
Yes.
get to that later.
Oh, we'll get to that later. I have some few choice words for that film.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, that hasn't got up yet, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it did?
Went up this morning.
Okay. Watch us live and chat with us, guys. Now. Done. Next. Send now. Tell everyone. Tell your friends. Tell your mother. Tell your father. I told my mother and my father. They still don't watch us.
It's okay.
Well.
You came there?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty. Alright. Now you just need to let the world know and then be audacious.
Yeah. Oh no. I got. Let's make sure we got this going.
Make sure we're all good.
Yep. All right. Let's start.
Get my yawns out.
Okay.
Hello and welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the Media Boat Podcast.
Woo-hoo.
Media Boat Podcast. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the hottest news about movies, television, video games, and music. Not necessarily in that order. My name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt. We talk about everything that happened this past week.
And today is episode 115. It is March the 21st, I believe. Yes. March 21st.
3, 2, 1.
2018. 3, 2, 1.
Today's the countdown.
Let's get right into it. We always start the Media Boat Podcast by talking about movies, and we always start talking about movies with the previous weekend's box office numbers. Boom. So, we miscalled it. We have a habit of doing this.
Well,
where we choose one new debut movie and think, oh, well, surely it'll do better than X million dollars. And
which it
fails
did.
To do.
Well, no, it actually did do better than X million dollars. We put that at 20. Thinking, yeah, it's going to do better than 20. We just didn't choose Black Panther would stay at another 37% drop instead of the usual 50 that superheroes get.
Yeah. So
especially like 5 weeks into this thing.
Right. So Black Panther is your number one movie again this weekend, topping the box office with another $26 million, bringing the domestic total above the $600 million mark.
Right. It's also to note that this is the 5th week at number one. This actually ties the record for Avatar for being number one in the box office.
In the last how many years, though? Because it definitely doesn't tie the all-time record.
No, it's not the all-time. I was just saying it ties Avatar's.
Okay.
Record.
So we're getting into pretty good territory here, needless to say. The rest of your top 5, Tomb Raider, the aforementioned Tomb Raider, debuted at number 2 with a solid $23 million. I can only imagine the movie about the Christian rock song.
Yes, the song that your mom and grandma loves.
Yep. That was your number 3 movie with $17 million. A Wrinkle of Time drops to number 4 with $16 million. And Love, Simon debuts into the top 5 at the very bottom with $11 million. Not bad.
It's good.
For a movie of its budget.
Yeah.
So before we start talking about the movies that you've seen, including Love, Simon, this coming weekend, this is what you have to look forward to. It's a pretty good weekend for everybody involved.
Yeah. It's the end of March.
Yeah.
Well, we have next week, but, you know.
Yeah, but, something for everybody here. We have first Midnight Sun, which is, I believe, that's the one where the girl can't go out into the sun.
Right.
So she has to date at night.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah, so something for your teenagers. Got Pacific Rim Uprising, the sequel to Pacific Rim.
Downrising.
For all you... Yes.
Pacific Rim Downfall.
Downfall. Somehow that was the first one. Yes. No, so yeah, you get your action movie for the weekend.
Yes.
And
giant
lastly,
monsters battling giant robots.
Yep. No, robots battling giant monsters.
Same thing.
I mean, yes, but you're rooting for the robots, not the monsters.
Well,
I mean, you could be rooting for the monsters, but I don't know. I don't know if that's fair.
It's not fair. Okay.
And then, and then lastly, something to drop the kids off at while you're in Pacific Rim. Sherlock Gnomes. The sequel to Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
With gnomes in it.
Yeah.
So get ready for
that.
that.
So you got something for the kids.
Something for the kids.
Something for the kids, something for the teens, something for your male adults.
That is your... of all sorts. That is your new releases for this weekend. But what did you see this past weekend that you want to talk about?
So I saw Tomb Raider.
You saw Tomb Raider. Alicia Vikander's Tomb Raider.
Portrayal.
Yes.
Of Tomb Raider.
How did you feel about raiding the tombs?
I wanted to definitely go raid some tombs afterwards.
Did you go? Did you stop by some tombs on the way home?
Not quite, but it did actually remind me a whole lot of what made Uncharted so good. Because like a lot of the stuff that they in the film just remind you like, oh, that's an Uncharted thing. Oh, that's an Uncharted thing. Oh, that's an Uncharted thing.
To be fair,
which is funny because Uncharted stole its stuff from Tomb Raider.
I wouldn't say stole. It borrowed a lot of mechanics from Tomb Raider, but really it's a very different game.
Yeah.
It's basically the puzzle solving and exploration of Tomb Raider with the shooting of Gears of War. Is essentially what that game is.
Yeah.
But the movie though, the Tomb Raider the movie, how was that? Tomb
Raider is a fine movie.
Okay.
It's good on both sides. It's definitely it's not something to rush off and see.
Okay.
It's definitely better than Assassin's Creed in terms of video game movies, because a lot of stuff is. But it's definitely worth at least checking out, because they do leave credence to a bunch of to more films that can come after this. But as for this one, compared to the other Tomb Raiders, which was like a globe-trotting adventure with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
This is more of what starts off as a rescue mission and then turns itself into a Tomb Raider film.
It's a survival thing, right? She has to basically stay alive.
Right, and it makes sense because it's part of the Square Enix reimagining of Tomb Raider, taking it back to the beginning.
Yeah. The modern Tomb Raider games, Tomb Raider and the Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
The more recent one.
Right.
And the newly officially announced Shadow of the Tomb Raider will be the next installment.
Yes, that just got announced.
So how is Alicia Vikander? Is she she's a different Lara Croft than Angelina Jolie's portrayal, because just the tone is different.
Yeah.
But does she do a good job? Is she
She does a good job. I like that in the very beginning it shows that she's very much a human. She is no superhero.
Right. That's in the trailer.
Yes.
Where she says that.
Yes. But it starts off with her basically getting beat up and then showing her that she's a human. And that's what they're really going for with this film. Until it gets to the very end and they decide to raid some tombs.
It's all right. Yeah, what is this movie called? Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Yeah. And then once they get there, that's when they it kind of goes into that whole sci-fi video game-esque type thing. But
wait, sci-fi? There's sci-fi in this?
Yeah, well, it's a curse.
Okay, so fantasy.
Fantasy.
Supernatural stuff.
Yeah, supernatural stuff. Which, it doesn't stray too far into it, which I like.
Yeah.
But it also never gives you that big moment, that grandiose...
set piece kind of thing?
Yeah, set piece ending.
All right.
Which I feel is exactly what it's missing to push it over the top.
More of a personal kind of story.
Yeah, because right now it's very much like a flat, safe story.
Well, maybe they're saving the big bombast for the sequel.
Well, that's the thing, is that it may not get a sequel.
Yeah, depending on how well it does.
How well it does.
Not a promising opening for a franchise, no.
Well, what? It was 24?
23.
23.
It's solid, but but it's not like big breakout hit.
No.
Like they probably want it to be.
Right. But then again, I think that goes alongside with Alicia Vikander just not being a big enough name.
Yet.
Yeah. Because when Angelina Jolie took on the role,
she was already
a household
Jolie,
she was already a household name.
You're right.
Alicia Vikander had the Academy Award win, and other than that, some European films, but nothing like substantial in America.
And her own production studio now.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, like if I say Alicia Vikander, what's she been in? You gotta go to the exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, she won the Academy Award. What'd she win it for?
I don't know. I know her name because we've talked about her a lot on this podcast. That's really the only reason why I do. But so yeah, but okay. So you also saw something. Before we get there, so on the patented media boat scale,
stream it. It definitely gives Alicia Vikander a name and definitely puts a face to the name. Yeah, which is good for her. But like everyone else in the film is kind of like wishy-washy. Like okay, sure, all right. No one really sticks out, which is kind of a bummer. Yeah. But I hope they kind of fix that in the sequel. Hire either like better, like more recognizable names or better recognizable actors, or give them something better to do so they stick out. Maybe. So based on patent media boat scale, it's a safe film. Stream it. Okay. You're not going to be disappointed with it, but you're going to be glad you didn't spend money for it. Okay.
Fair enough. You also saw Love, Simon.
Yes. Love, Simon.
Sorry. Love, Simon. There's a comma in it.
I know. I know we made the joke.
Punctuation jokes.
Yeah, punctuation joke of it's Love, Simon. Because, punctuation is important.
So what's up with Love, Simon?
Well, that's exactly the question we're trying to answer in the film. What is up with Simon? Why is he in love? And who is he in love with? And why does this love matter?
Well, why?
Well, we answer that question. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know, have never seen a preview for this thing, Love, Simon is about a high school boy coming out as... What do I want to use? Gay, homosexual?
Gay works fine.
All right, as gay. Just
he's gay.
He comes out. So he realizes that he's gay, but he hasn't told anyone. And basically, it's about him in high school coming out to his friends, his family, everyone, his whole school that he is gay. But it's a nice contrast to typical films about this style, like Moonlight. Okay. Where it's more contemporary, more of an acceptance because it's like, especially the white version of Moonlight.
Treading some weird ground here.
I know.
So tonally, it seems like what you're getting at is a different kind of tone. Yeah. This is a movie that's having fun.
Yes, this is more of a high school movie than...
That just happens to have its main character coming out. Yeah. But it's not focused on that. It's more about the interpersonal relationships between the high school kids.
Yeah, because even though Simon is gay, and you know that going into it because it just starts off right at the bat. He definitely treads some weird water because he is still in high school because he tries to set his friends up and tries not to get blackmailed because he still wants to keep his secret. Yeah. And is in the school play, but he doesn't. And there's he doesn't really hang out with the other kid who's gay, even though they're both gay. And then and there's a nice contrast between the kid who is outing gay, which is what you would think of someone being gay, versus Simon, who is your typical high schooler who just happens to be gay.
Yeah, you were writing in this in your thoughts post on the site, mediaboatpodcast.com, by the way, that dynamic. And I thought that was really, really interesting because we haven't seen a whole lot of that in mainstream cinema, in art films, which are previously, the only source to get stories about gay people. We're finally getting that in mainstream cinema. Kind of this conversation about there are all kinds of people that just happen to swing this way. Yeah. There are kinds of different levels of what we think are the stereotypical gay personalities, which are just that, stereotypes. And I think it's really cool that we're finally having such a mainstream marketed movie kind of approach it like with complete normalcy, like you're saying. Like, just like, this is just otherwise a high school movie, and we're finally getting to the point where a high school movie can tell these stories.
Yeah, it's... is this based off... I believe
it's based off a book, which has a slightly different title. I don't remember exactly what it is, but but yes, it is based on a novel.
It's based off a book, but the film does a good job of translating whatever it is, because this is a really well put together film. It's a very contemporary high school film. Deals with a lot of recent, a lot of technologies in this film. Yeah. Because kids use technology everywhere nowadays, and how that can just instantly not keep secrets and help with stuff.
Social media kind of thing.
So social media plays a huge part in this film.
I read a review of this that likened that dynamic to something that you didn't care for, which was American Vandal on Netflix. They were talking about the two are similar in the way where they portray a modern high school setting and modern high school students using social media as if they would use them in the real world, and how that changes script writing for high school movies and or television shows. And I thought that was an interesting kind of thing, because you maybe didn't care for that, but I thought that was one of the things it did a good job with, was that's it. That is how kids are using social media now.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a swing in terms of writing styles to purposely use more to use more technology, to use more social media, that you don't need to be in the same room to get information across. Or you can use instant messaging to keep secrets and hide secrets and delve more.
Yeah, which is good, because that means we're finally escaping from high school movies being written like they're from the 80s.
Right, where everyone has to hang out at the diner in order to get information
to find out information. It's like we were finally seeing stuff. You mentioned Easy A in your thoughts post as well, which is an interesting thing to reference, because it definitely feels the same kind of that was a turning point movie where it's there's a plot point that has to do with streaming a live blog, which at the time was not a thing that happened a lot, and now is 100% something teenagers do.
Case in point.
And so it's cool to see teen movies catching up with that stuff.
Yeah. Wrap things up here. Yeah. Watch it. It's definitely good.
So you loved Simon? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I didn't think I would. Yeah. I thought it'd be just just talk out your feelings. But no, it actually, one of the things that this film does well is that using various characters, it actually opens up to, a multitude of different responses that people will go through.
Cool.
When someone comes out that they're that they're gay.
Yes.
Whether it's from the dad, the mom, the sister, the friends, the school, the bullies, the principal or the vice principal, teachers even. Everyone has a different take on how to react to someone doing that, and this one does a good job of basically putting a mirror to your face and saying, which one are you?
Or making you wonder. How would you react in this situation? Have you? What's your own story about this situation? That's cool. I'm glad this exists, and I'm glad it's good. Mm-hmm. Because hopefully this means that more movies will be made in its ilk.
Yeah. I think it's got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's being really well reviewed.
It's really well reviewed, which is good. And that means that hopefully more films go in this style of being very modern, very contemporary, and not shying away from these really tough issues most people deal with.
I think so. Cool. All right. Yep. So go see Love, Simon. In the meantime, let's start into some movie news for this week. First up, an update on our story from last week about the Weinstein Company.
So this is going to be not quite the penultimate of the Weinstein Companies.
It's not quite over, but here's what's going on. Here's what's the deal after last week. So they have officially filed for 363 bankruptcy in Delaware, and companies are lining up to bid on the assets, as we reported what happened last week.
Right. The 363 is the same thing MGM went through when its properties got dissolved into other companies.
Yeah. In addition to filing for bankruptcy, the Weinstein Company has released all of its accusers from non-disclosure agreements, which is a huge deal. Mm-hmm. So that means all the people who accused Harvey Weinstein of misconduct basically have nothing to lose now. They don't have the documents they signed don't matter. They can just go ahead and say what they need to say. Get everything out in the public if they so choose. Leading bidder, Lantern Asset Management, who was a part of the $500 million bid with Ron Burkle and Maria Contreras-Sweet before it was pulled on March 6th.
Right. This was the original bid that we had reported on 2 weeks ago, when we first announced that the Weinstein Company was going to file for this 363.
So, that company has put forward a $450 million offers, and all other offers will be accepted until the deadline on April 30th.
Yes, which means that's the end of April, which means May. Yeah. Come the first week of May, we should know the definitive answer of fate. What's going to happen with the Weinstein Company.
So, hopefully whoever gets it does something good with it.
Right, well, there was, but see, that Lantern group, they've got a leg up because they've already seen everything the Weinstein has to offer.
Right.
So that means they no longer need to do their due diligence, but other companies who may want to purchase the Weinstein Company, have to do all that digging for themselves because they're not going to hand that information over.
Yeah.
But to basically go in and put in roughly the same offer that was, I mean, they must have some type of plan for the Weinstein Company.
I sure hope so. We'll see what happens early May, sounds like. Yep. All right, next up, moving right on, Amy Poehler, one of our favorites. Star, of course, of Saturday Night Live back in the day, and then Parks and Recreation, has announced her new project. She has a new movie called
Wine Country.
Wine Country. She's working with Emily Spivey, who was worked with her on Parks and Rec and SNL back in the day. It tells the story of old friends who go to Napa Valley for a weekend getaway to celebrate a 50th birthday. It will star Amy Poehler, Rachel Dratch, Anna Gasteyer, Paula Pell, Maya Rudolph, Tina Fey, and Emily Spivey. Most of those SNL alum, either performers or writers. Paula Pell, actually, I think is still a writer on the show.
Writer.
I think she's still on the show, though. Is like what I was saying. I was like, I think at least recently. Right. That sounds pretty good. That's a great cast.
Yeah, think sideways, but actually funny.
Sideways wasn't really a comedy.
I know.
Principal photography for the film will begin toward the end of the month, and it will premiere on, drumroll please, Netflix. It's not a theatrical release, guys.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yep, this is first of Amy Poehler's deals with Netflix. Yeah. She's going to be directing this thing, and sounds like actually a really good film. Cool. Old ladies getting drunk and spilling secrets.
So that sounds all right. I like the cast. I like the concept.
Right. So, also, are they all 50?
I don't know.
I know because
I don't know any of their ages. I can't tell you. So maybe at least one of them. I don't think Amy Poehler's quite there. I don't think Rachel Dratch is quite there.
You'd think that, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
All right.
Go to Wikipedia. Find out.
Wikipedia.
Not literally right now. Oh. Don't do that right now.
All right, fine.
I'm just kidding. After the show or something.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on to our next story about somebody else who hasn't been around in the public eye for a little bit. Shia LaBeouf, Mr. Do It himself.
You just do it.
Do it! Yes. He's coming out of a period of public silence following his arrest in 2017. Remember that?
Yeah.
To star in a film loosely based on his own life.
Oh, where does he pull inspiration from?
I don't know. I need motivation.
Is Amy going to be in the movie? Yes, Amy Poehler will star in that film.
Yeah, Amy Poehler will be in it and directing it. And is she writing it?
No, she's not writing it.
All right. But yes, back to Shia. So, this will be directed by Alma Harrell, who directed Bombay Beach. It will be called Honey Boy. Honey Boy is about a popular child star, Lucas Hedges, who is in Manchester by the Sea.
Yes.
Who attempts to mend his relationship with his, quote, law-breaking, alcohol-abusing father, played by Shia LaBeouf himself, over the course of a decade.
Yep. Honey Boy was actually Shia's nickname, or at least, family nickname.
Okay.
So that's where that title comes from.
In the Even Stevens days?
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah.
Interesting.
He's basically going to play his own father.
I don't know.
Or a characterization of his father.
Or a sort of version.
Right. How he saw his father.
If you're wondering what he's been doing meanwhile, like before this, he was in a film starring as tennis player John McEnroe in Borg vs. McEnroe, which just premiered at South by Southwest and hits theaters in April.
Yeah, it's a tennis movie.
For
those of you that don't know, Borg vs. McEnroe is a tennis film. Yeah. Johnny McEnroe of Adam Sandler's crew.
Yes, sure. Yes. That is how people know him.
He was in Mr. D. That's how most people know that Johnny McEnroe.
I 100% do not think that is how most people know who John McEnroe is. I think most people just know because he's John McEnroe.
Because he's the bad boy of tennis, right?
He's the bad boy of tennis. That's his deal.
I know.
All right, let's move on.
But yeah, so if you want to see Shia in the recent...
playing tennis in April and then playing his own father.
Yeah.
Sometime later, probably...
Sounds like Oscar bait to
early
me.
next year, late this year, I don't know.
Sounds like period piece. Sounds like I gotta get this off my chest.
Maybe. All right. Moving on to our next person. These are all person-based headlines this week for some reason.
Are fun. Well, yeah, I guess first one counts, Harvey.
Next one is another one of our favorites, Kumail Nanjiani.
Yay! From The Big Sick.
Yes. Fresh off his success of The Big Sick, Nanjiani has signed on to star opposite Mark Ruffalo in The True American, which will be directed by Pablo Larraín, who directed Jackie. It is based on a nonfiction book titled The True American, Murder and Mercy in Texas, which takes place in the days following 9/11 and is about a Muslim immigrant who will be played by Nanjiani.
No way.
Yeah. Well, who survived a deadly hate crime and is now advocating for mercy on behalf of his attacker, played by Mark Ruffalo. This was supposed to be directed by Catherine Bigelow and was going to star Tom Hardy and Riz Ahmed, but that's no longer the case, though Bigelow is staying on as a producer for the film. Also, Nanjiani is not done. He is also starring opposite Dave Bautista in Stuber.
Yeah, you said that right. That's right. Stuber.
I don't know what Stuber is.
I'll
From director Michael Dowse, who directed something called Good. I'm not familiar. But maybe it was good. Good
grief. I did put it in.
Good grief?
Okay. No, I don't know what.
Good. All right, it's good. I don't know. It might be good. Go see Good.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't remember.
In this film, Nanjiani will play a mild-mannered Uber driver named Stu, who picks up a grizzled cop who is hot on the trail of a brutal killer. The driver finds himself thrust into a harrowing ordeal where he has to keep his wits, his life, and his 5-star rating. It's good copy.
Yeah.
Did you write that, or is that borrowed?
No, that's borrowed.
Okay. It's in the same vein as Taxi, the movie Taxi, but with 100% less Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
That's good. Is that also you?
No, that one was me.
Okay. I was like, is that also that sounds like you. So yeah, that sounds like he's getting some good projects, good meaty projects here.
Yeah. Definitely two different types of roles. One straight drama, one
and comedy.
Comedic.
So good for him.
That's a good pairing, him and Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of good work recently.
Is Dave Bautista the next The Rock? Is that happening right now?
Well, except he's not going to shield himself for everything, though.
Yet.
But
I mean, he's got that Guardians money.
I know. Well, he's been in Guardians. He's been in Skyfall. He was
a former wrestler, if you don't need us to tell you that, but just in case.
He was also in... no, it was just all that. That's the important thing. Right. It was also in Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
He's been in some pretty good roles. Expect him to continue this success. But yeah, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite wrestlers turned actors.
Good. Yeah, I mean he's good at what he does. I could see a future in front of him, and a future in front of Kumail. He's knocking it out of the park lately, so good for him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to our next section here.
Yeah,
that's it for movies.
Yeah, I think we're out of movies.
We're moving on to television, and we always start television with sports.
Oh.
And man, do we have a story. We have the sports story that may be the sports story for the rest of the year, depending on how the rest of the year goes.
Yeah.
It finally happened in college basketball. March Madness is underway, and something truly mad happened to Virginia. Number 16, UMBC.
Yes,
beat
University.
number 1 seed Virginia in the biggest upset in NCAA tournament history.
Actually, I think that's I forgot that. I think that would be UBMC. University of Baltimore, Maryland College.
Okay. Beat number 1 seed Virginia.
Yeah, 16 beat a number 1 seed. Like, it's a Cinderella story. They say it's going to happen sometime.
Yeah.
You just never think it's going to happen this year. And yet, here we are in a post-16 seed win upset.
So, of course, if you had brackets, and I know most of you do, well, your bracket got busted because 99%, I bet this is an estimate because it's an impossible statistic to actually know if it's true, got busted by this upset.
So. No. Not by the upset. That's over the weekend.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Because I only
everything.
Yeah, because a lot of number 1 seeds lost, a couple of number 3 seeds lost. My pick for Tennessee, number 3 seed, lost. Some 2 seeds lost as well. So that 99% is overall because nobody called this. For Virginia itself, according to ESPN, 23% of their bracket spell had them winning the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So, I think like
those
people who didn't pick Virginia to win were either people who graduated from UMBC
exactly,
or Virginia Tech fans.
Yeah, exactly. People who
just would never choose Virginia.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Any other notable games in the tournament so far besides that one?
Chicago Loyola Marymount is still. Oh no, they lost in the second. They lost or they won? I don't remember.
Don't ask me.
I know. I know that they had a big upset win, and their preacher grandma was like making all the rounds.
Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah, that was the one where we watched. That was very, very close.
Yes.
And I forget who won that one.
They were playing Tennessee.
Yeah.
And they beat Tennessee in the second round. It was like, damn it.
But yeah.
Oh, and just a shout out to Syracuse for winning. We have a friend who, for some reason, roots on the Orange Men. We like to give them some shit for it. But congratulations to them. They're still in it. But yeah, so
March continues to be mad.
Yep. This is the reason we play the games because upsets happen.
Yep.
Continues this weekend. We'll continue the following weekend and then end the final, the first weekend of April is when the tournament will actually end in San Antonio.
Cool.
So stick around because more brackets will continue to be busted.
I'm sure. Moving on in other sports, we have cue the synthesizers because it's the final countdown for a couple of your favorite sports. There we go. All right. There are 2 weeks left in the regular season for NHL hockey. And there are 3 weeks left in the regular season for NBA basketball.
Yes. Hockey season will end the first weekend of April on the 7th. And then the following week, the basketball season will end. So we're getting down to the wire.
Yeah.
Gotta get those points, gotta get those wins. Every game matters now, as if it didn't already. And yeah, that's all we're gonna say about those 2 sports until they actually
get interesting with playoffs.
Well, yeah, until we get to the actual playoffs and figure out who's in, where we're just not gonna bother with them.
We'll come back.
It's just keep it in mind that they're still happening. Now's a good time to get into it, especially since March Madness, the D League is happening. Go Kings go! Please don't choke.
A desperate plea.
Desperate plea
from a fan.
Well, I don't know. If Mark was watching this, he's talking about Ducks do the same thing.
Yeah.
Also, baseball season. Here we come.
Yeah, we're almost there.
We're almost there. A week now. I think we're a week out because baseball season starts the second
week of April.
First week of April.
First week of April.
Yeah, first week of April. Okay. So, spring training camps are going to be ending soon, and everyone's going to be coming back to hometown.
Great.
For some exhibition games right before the season actually starts.
Cool. All right, so sports fans, there's a lot to love, both wrapping up and beginning. So let's move out of sports, and let's talk about television news. First up in television news, we have, this is more of a shout-out, a public service announcement for some charities you can support.
Yes.
But also it's a funny thing from another show.
Yeah.
So if you're not watching John Oliver's Last Week Tonight...
What is wrong with you?
First of all, yes, what's wrong with you? It's great. It always has been, and it's getting better. But this week they did a bit.
Next Thursday's opening day. We're covering that next week. That's why.
Yeah. Fair enough. So they did a bit on John Oliver's Last Week Tonight that will have proceeds go to the Trevor Project, which is for suicide prevention over LGBT the LGBT community, and AIDS United. And here's how you can support them. Well, almost. It's kind of hard right now.
Right.
So he did a bit about launching a children's book called A Day in the Life of Marlon Bundo. If that doesn't make any sense to you, it has to do with Vice President Mike Pence's pet rabbit, and the story is that the pet rabbit falls in love with another male rabbit, which if you know anything about Mike Pence, he would not be on board with. So it's intended as something to be read as to paint the world in a more positive light and place in direct competition to the VP's own book, which I'm guessing is releasing recently.
Yes, later this week.
Okay. Is it also about his bunny?
Yes.
Okay,
that's
got it.
the joke.
All right. Sorry, I didn't watch it.
I
didn't watch this, so I don't know the context.
Yes, that's the joke. Mike Pence's bunny is actually named Marlon Bundo. Which is a great name for a rabbit.
So yeah, the book is real, John Oliver's book, and also Mike Pence's book.
Yes.
But John Oliver's book will support the aforementioned charities if you buy it. But it is number 1 on Amazon, but it's on back order as the book sold out within 24 hours.
Actually, the book sold out within literal hours, because after I watched that episode...
You tried to look at it?
I tried to look at it. I tried to order it, and on Amazon it said, sorry, we've sold out already.
Jeez.
And then I looked on the official website for it, for the book, and it said, will arrive in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is great. I think this is a wonderful, funny idea. And I think, it's yet another example of John Oliver using his platform to do something that matters. Yeah,
he's using his powers for good.
Yeah.
And having some fun with it, too.
Yeah, definitely some fun.
Yeah. The big lead up to this was if Trump is impeached, then that means we get Mike Pence, and just who is Mike Pence?
Right.
And so they, at the end, Mike Pence, it was revealed that Mike Pence has this book coming out for children, and so we're like, we're gonna one up you.
It's like, what's going on with this thing?
Have our own book about everything you would not approve of.
Yeah.
And yet, it's gonna be a positive book.
Right. As it should be.
As it should be. For children.
Yeah.
Because it's a children's book. They're both children's books. But, one will support a better cause and one will support the vice president.
So, you make the call. All right. Moving on from politics to internet politics.
Oh, yeah.
The internet's favorite show, Rick and Morty. The much-anticipated Season 4 will not premiere in 2018. In fact,
sorry, fans.
We don't know what's going on with it at all.
Yeah, so every week we do a segment called Cancellations and Renewals.
We do.
But there's one show we've yet to even talk about.
Yeah, it hasn't appeared in any of those. We haven't seen any light from the end of the tunnel after Season 3. But Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland have been talking their own stuff about it, mostly Dan Harmon. He said on Twitter that, quote, it can be challenging to write a show that hasn't been ordered by a network. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So, basically saying Charging Network hasn't even contacted them, saying whether it's being renewed for another season on Adult Swim.
Now, we don't know that. This could just be Justin Roiland trying to get additional seasons confirmed. Or Dan Harmon.
Yeah, who knows?
Right.
But it does take roughly 8 months to animate after the writing has largely been completed. So even if it does get renewed, we're looking at 2019 or possibly 2020 for new episodes.
And this is what happened between season
1 and 2,
2
and 3?
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Yeah, that as soon as the first season, or as soon as the first couple episodes were ordered, they gave them a full season.
Yeah.
And then they immediately ordered a second season. And that one didn't do so well. but they didn't order season 3 until the end of season 2.
Yeah.
And now we've been out of season 3 for a while now, and yet no order.
Yeah.
So just playing the speculation game here, this could be the creators, Justin Roiland or Dan Harmon, trying to get secured additional seasons.
Yeah, maybe.
Or they could, because there is no lockdown that Adult Swim has on Rick and Morty, that they could be looking for another network.
I mean, that's a possibility. I could see streaming pick them up if that is a thing that's happening. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually might be partially the network might be sitting on their hands because of, well, some of the negative publicity that the show got over the summer.
The Szechuan sauce.
Yeah, the sauce stuff and just the toxicity of the fan base got to public levels, and that's never good if you're a network with a show. That being said, it is widely popular, and it seems on paper insane that they wouldn't renew it.
Yes.
So yeah, if I was to guess, they'll do it. They'll renew it, but yeah, we probably won't see new episodes until 2019.
Right.
At soonest.
At the earliest, 2019.
So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, fans.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is all you're doing.
Yeah, you did this to yourself. Moving on.
Moving on.
To another fan favorite on the internet, Stranger Things.
Is that our fan favorites?
Not ours, but some people. So production for this third season will begin on April 23rd. Well, the cast is also getting significant pay raises, as you do when you have a successful show.
They are currently going to film the third season of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So, we might as well get that pay raise because we're in the first 2 success.
So your A-tier actors from the show, your Winona Ryders and your David Harbors, are making $350,000 per episode, up from just $100,000 previously.
And seeing as they do 10 episodes, that's a cool $3.5 million to do season 3.
Not bad. Your tier below that, your 4 main boys in the show, making $250K, up from just $20,000. And
that's quite a jump.
And your others, the teenagers in the show, making $150,000. That's a total of $2.1 million for the cast per episode. That's a lot of budget right there.
Yeah. Well, Netflix has all that money to throw around too, but that's just on cast, not including the behind the scenes, below the line people, the directors, the creators, and of course the sets and actually filming this thing.
That also leaves, though, the breakout star of the show, Millie Bobby Brown. She's not
11.
Yes,
11.
11.
Yeah.
She's not mentioned on this, but so we're not really 100% sure what she's making here. She's probably at least making the $250K, like her age level peers.
Yes.
But she could be making as high as $350,000 because she is kind of the thing with that show right now.
Yeah, she is kind of the star. You know, the catalyst for everything that happens in that.
Yeah, that's why I said the breakout star, because obviously this is the star of the show is Winona Ryder, but she's the name. Right. But yeah, she's definitely the breakout. She'll be the one who goes on to do other stuff after this.
Right. And this was actually news following the end of season 2 that her agent broke off from the cast in order to do specifically for her a new contract.
Right. So yeah, season 3, look forward to that. Probably end this year or early next year.
Well, see, they did October last year,
so could it be?
So it could be October. But seeing as they drop them all at the same time, probably
maybe
Christmas,
early next year.
Yeah, Christmas, January.
All right, moving on to our last story in television. We have a Netflix movie premiering this weekend from the director and screenwriter of Narcos and which RoboCop? You just have
the recent RoboCop.
Okay, I was gonna say it, not the original RoboCop.
I was gonna put the year, but I don't remember what year it came out.
Fair enough. Called The Mechanism.
Yeah. So normally we don't highlight films before they come out. Usually we do our reviews afterwards. But this, reading up on this, it felt like a specific case to where we should at least alert you about this thing that's coming out.
All right. So here's The Mechanism. Here's the dirt about this thing. It apparently covers a story about the billions of dollars looted from public coffers in connection to powerful politicians and wealthy businessmen ratting on each other in hopes of avoiding long prison terms. Known in Brazil as Operation Car Wash, the scandal follows a simple money laundering investigation at a gas station into a national crisis that threatens the foundation of the world's fourth largest democracy, Brazil. Brazilians believe that politicians, bankers, businessmen, and judges have conspired to steal vast sums from the state, regardless of who is in office, and the director, Jose Padilla, plans to bring that to light. Rather than focus on politicians and business magnates, business magnates or something else, that you put them on your fridge, it says, doing business.
Or, they help open your bottles.
Yeah, maybe. Of business juice.
Yes, the business juice is flowing.
The business juice. The series revolves around 3 fictionalized characters, a well-connected and morally warped money launderer, and 2 tenacious police investigators. So, I'm guessing this sounds interesting to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a high concept, high drama, high stakes series. This is not a film. This is a series from the guy Bryce.
You use the term film here.
I know.
So that's your fault.
I know it's my fault.
Okay, yeah, seems intense and potentially something that would illuminate American audiences to something real happening.
Right. Because this isn't out yet, I have a feeling this will be entirely in Portuguese. Which is the national language of Brazil.
Yeah.
Because the director is, of course, as we mentioned, from that area.
Yeah.
And seeing as this is close near and dear to his heart, I would assume that he would be very authentic to it.
Yeah. So probably.
So expect subtitles.
Expect subtitles.
Which I know subtitles may turn you off.
Yeah.
But it sounds super interesting. Don't let that deter you. Like, a lot of people love Narcos. Some people were fine with the RoboCop, but the fact that we're going to cover a Brazilian politician scheme schemes is just really fascinating.
Right.
And it's going to really be keen to House of Cards style. Yeah. Just everyone's conspiring against each other.
Always fun.
Always fun.
Speaking of the Netflix joints, before we move on to cancellation renewals, you watched something on Netflix this week.
Yes.
Take Your Pills?
Yes.
What the hell is Take Your Pills? And should I?
That is actually the question it tries to answer.
All right.
And I say tries because it doesn't give you an answer.
Is this a documentary series?
No, it's a short film.
Short film?
It's a documentary film. And it explores Adderall.
Okay.
I say we.
We. The royal we.
Yes.
Not us on this couch.
Royal we.
I definitely did not take any Adderall. I've never taken any drugs for ADD because I don't have it.
Right. But that's what this film is about. It explores the rise of prescription for Adderall and Ritalin and all these other ADHD medications. It also goes into how these were first formed with amphetamines. Yeah. And how they got prescribed way back when they were first introduced in the 1930s.
Oh, okay.
And then how there was a drug epidemic, and so Congress said you can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. And so they decided to, do what drug companies do and rebrand and repurpose them and then redistribute. And how it's basically how, some kids need it, most kids don't, but those who do need it and do take it can be seen as taking a performance-enhancing drug because it definitely enhances your performance, allows you to stay more focused, allows you to get more work done. And whether that is a fair or unfair advantage when it comes to school and tests and SATs and work and everything else about it. It's definitely a really interesting documentary. Definitely well done. It's on Netflix, so it costs you a Netflix subscription.
Okay.
I was going to say nothing, but...
It's already there.
It's already there.
It's in there.
It's an hour 40, I think. But it's definitely really interesting and definitely very eye-opening into how this whole thing got started and how most people need it. But most people who are prescribed it don't necessarily need it.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely an interesting take. Definitely worth checking out.
All right. So check that out if that sounds interesting to you. Yeah. Moving on to cancellations and renewals.
Hey, I mentioned that. We do that.
Boom. First up, we have a cancellation.
Woo!
Freeform's Young and Hungry, which lasted an inexplicable 5 seasons, has been canceled.
So, do you remember what Young and Hungry was about?
No.
Okay. I believe it was about the nanny wannabe chef, also blogger.
Uh-huh.
Trying to make it in the world.
Okay.
I think that's what that Young and Hungry was.
Like a lot. You're probably right. Sounds like a food blogger kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that has been canceled, so I'm sorry, Young and Hungry fans. Moving on to renewals here. We've got Netflix's Travelers will be renewed for a 3rd season. And USA's The Sinner will get a 2nd season. Will and Grace on NBC will also be renewed for technically an 11th season.
But the
3rd current season. They already were
rebooted.
picked up for 2 full reboot seasons. The 2nd has yet to air.
Yes.
We're still in the 1st season of the reboot. The 3rd season has been confirmed. So yeah, get ready for more Will and Grace for the next 2 years. Somebody. Also renewed NBC's Hollywood Game Night. We'll have a 6th season, so Jane Lynch stays in the game.
Jane Lynch still gets paid.
Yep. Cool. Good for her. Finally, deaths. We have 1 death this week. Charlie Quintana, age 65, who was a drummer for Cracker and Social Distortion. Social D. So I don't know if he was the original drummer, so that's why I used a drummer as opposed to the drummer.
Right. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else but no, because Stephen Hawking.
You might want to be more specific with musicians because I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
If I cannot confirm if they were, the original or the main drummer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm sure it was important to both of those bands, so yes. And that's
young.
young.
I want to say original.
56
too.
is young, for sure.
Yeah.
So that brings us into music. In fact,
it takes us right to the Billboard.
It takes us to the Billboard Charts. Your charts for the hottest singles and the hottest albums.
Matt, are you the hottest single?
I am the hottest single of the week.
Come at him, ladies.
I can't even maintain that. Your number 1 song on the Hot 100 is still God's Plan by Drake.
Still?
God's Plan apparently is playing Fortnite.
Oh, yeah. I didn't cover that in the game because I was dumb.
You didn't need to. It's dumb.
But yeah, Drake started playing Fortnite and got spammed with God's Plan in the chat.
God's Plan. Number 2, Still Perfect by Ed Sheeran. Number 3 is Finesse, Bruno Mars, Cardi B. Number 4, moving up a spot, Meant to Be with BB Rexa and Florida Georgia Line. And wrapping up the top 5 in singles, Psycho by Post Malone featuring Ty Dolla $ign. Your album chart has a new number 1. Debuting at number 1 this week is Logic's Bobby Tarantino 2. Yes, Logic, the white rapper everybody loves. Inexplicably. Who apparently just broke up with his girlfriend today. Awkward. Sorry, Logic. Number 2, Lil Boat 2 by Lil Yachty. Yachty? Yachty. I always feel like I'm pronouncing Lil Yachty wrong.
It's Yachty. It's Yachty.
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 Lil Yachty?
He's a Yachty.
Just none of that sounds right.
No, it doesn't.
Number 3, moving down, I think from previous week or maybe debuting this week. I don't know. American Utopia by David Byrne. Number 4, Black Panther, the album, music from and inspired by, moves down to number 4 from number 1. And Firepower by Judas Priest is your number 5 album.
Oh, what happened to my Greatest Showman?
That is your Billboard. Sorry, Greatest Showman. You're not in the top 5 this week. Moving on to this week's new music releases. First up, we have Bonnie Doon with Long Wave. Bonnie Doon is going to be touring with Snail Mail. I found that today. Cavern of Antimatter with Hormone Lemonade.
Yeah.
Disgusting. George Ezra with Staying at Tamara's.
Yes, he left Budapest to go to Tamara's.
Tamara's house. I wonder if it said Tamara as in Tia and Tamara Mowry.
I don't know.
Maybe. Guided by Voices has yet another album called Space Gun. They're notorious for coming up with something like every 6 months. Jack White has apparently the terrible, I read today, is terrible solo album, Boarding House Reach. So maybe don't check that out.
Yeah, when he was out promoting this, Jack White went on a tirade, a rant against DJ Khaled, saying he didn't know exactly what he did.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
She shouted out about beef about DJ Khaled and he's not saying what it is?
No. Yeah, he's saying that he has no idea what he does.
Oh, he doesn't. Oh, I thought you said he has no idea what he did, as if something happened and he doesn't want to talk about it. No. You're saying that Jack White does not know what DJ Khaled does.
Yes, Jack White does not understand the success of DJ Khaled.
Hey, man.
Because according to him, all he does is just take songs we know and just repurpose them.
That's not at all. I think he's getting DJ Khaled confused with Flo Rida.
Maybe.
Or Fall Out Boy.
Well, I think he's just very hung up on that Wild, Wild, Wild song, which is that Santana's Maria Maria.
It samples from it, but
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Jack White does not know what he's talking about lately.
No, but has he ever?
I mean, yes, at one point.
I know.
Not anymore.
Okay.
Moving on, Jordan Davis.
Recently, then.
Other new music this week: Jordan Davis with Home State, Mark Pritchard with The Four Worlds, Sunflower Bean with 22 in Blue, The Sword with Used Future, and Tony Braxton with Sex and Cigarettes. Sounds like a fun party, Tony. Moving on to music news. Our first story is also a follow-up story, also a bankruptcy follow-up story, with none other than radio conglomerate Iheart Media.
So we reported this last week before? Was it last week?
Yeah, I think it may be last week.
I think it was last week, right before the Iheart Awards, which was on your birthday. So it was 2 weeks ago then.
So yes, on Thursday, the operator of 850 Company?
No, that's 850 companies.
Oh, you have the possessive S in companies.
Oh.
So I didn't know that that's what you meant.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so the operator of 850 companies, Iheart Media, officially submitted the paperwork to file for bankruptcy.
We said this was going to happen last week.
Its rival, the company Cumulus, not to be confused with the Clouds, which owns 445 stations, did the same thing just a few months ago. Both companies have been trying to restructure their debt for several years and became unsustainable during the persistent decline of the radio broadcasting business. The bankruptcy filing
and iTunes killed it.
Bankruptcy filing comes as Spotify prepares for its much anticipated listing on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yes.
So yeah, this is maybe the final breaths of these things. So did you do any research about what happens to these Iheart Media stations after this goes down? Do they go to other companies? Do they become local stations? Like, there's got to be something that happens, right?
It's Chapter 11, so everything that they own gets liquefied in order to cover all their debts. But outside of that happening, it's really anyone's guess as to what's going to happen with these companies, because
that's really interesting.
They got to find some type of source to keep these stations afloat. Whether it's ads, which... the big ones are able to do it because, like the LA markets, the New York markets, they're fine. But, it's everything in between and whether or not there's going to be,
850
ads.
Potential orphans right there.
Yeah.
It's insane. All right. So we'll have updates about that story as it progresses. Moving on. You like statues?
I like statues.
But do you like statues of people?
Are they gold or bronze? Do they hang outside Staples Center?
Maybe.
They do.
Do you like do you like David Bowie?
He's okay.
Do you want a statue of David Bowie?
Like to own?
No, not you personally. Just like that exists. Do you want one to exist?
Sure. As long as it's at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, no, but guess what? There is going to be a statue of David Bowie.
Yes.
It is set to be unveiled in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire, England.
England, yes.
Shouldn't have to say that, but England.
Yes.
The statue sees Bowie dressed as his Ziggy Stardust persona, with various other versions of Bowie looking on. The big unveiling will be this weekend on the 25th of March in the town's Market Square, where there will also be a petition to change the town's name to Aylesbury.
From Aylesbury to Aylesbury.
Meanwhile, 3 rare David Bowie records are set to be released for Record Store Day on April 21st. So get out of there if you're an insane person who likes Record Store Day.
Yeah. The mayor of Aylesbury said, when this was brought up, said, while we know that other cities have changed their names for other people, maybe we'll just change it for one day. Having it be the March 25th. Yeah. That on March 25th they'll do a big changing of the name to Aylesbury.
My favorite town changing name story.
Yeah.
Which you may be familiar with. I don't know if you've heard this one. Back in 1998, when Pokemon was launched in the United States, the game, the town of Topeka, Kansas, was for that day only renamed Topekachu. Topekachu, Kansas. It wasn't recurring, like what you're saying, but it was just for that day.
Yeah.
It was officially changed to Topekachu just for that 24-hour period. It's my favorite. All right, moving on from Topekachu to something else that was big in 1998. Blink-182.
Hey! Going back to our childhood
pushing it there, actually. They hadn't hit it big yet. But Blink-182 has announced plans that are totally ludicrous and amazing.
What, Ludacris?
No, not with Ludacris.
Oh.
To have a residency in Las Vegas.
We're going to go with residency in quotes here because it's not necessarily they're going to stay there.
So they've announced a, quote, residency, unquote, at the Pearl Concert Theater in the Palms Casino Resort. Tickets will go on sale on Friday at 10 a.m. for a 16-show run that kicks off on May the 26th. With additional shows slated for June, October, and November, each for a weekend, hence the name Kings of the Weekend.
It's also a name of their song that they do.
That makes sense then.
Yeah.
Mark Hoppus said in a press statement that they are going to create a true throwback set list to Vegas classics like Sinatra, Liberace, and even marry someone on stage. Now, I need you to clarify for me this for me. Are they going to marry 2 different people on stage, or are they going to marry someone to the entirety of Blink-182?
I think they're going to marry Sinatra and Liberace.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Because, it's Vegas, and anything happens in Vegas.
It's true.
Nah, it's
so,
the whole...
here's my next follow-up question. Would you rather get married at a Taco Bell, or get married in Vegas, or get married at a Blink-182 show in Las Vegas? Which one? You can only choose one.
Neither. I'd get married by the Jabberwockies.
No.
Because they can't speak.
No. And also, that's the dumbest thing ever. Don't get married by the Jabberwockies.
No. But they're the Luxor. You're in a pyramid.
You just want to be married in the Luxor, which you can do without having the Jabberwockies involved. Contrary to popular belief.
No.
David Copperfield can marry you, I'm sure. Actually, I don't know. I think he plays the MGM.
That's not yeah, he does.
Moving on.
I think the Luxor is Chris Angel.
Yeah, you're right. Freaking mind freak your wedding.
Yes, my freak my wedding.
All right.
Where I'll end up being the preacher.
Yes.
Or somehow.
Our last story for music is about the White Men Festival. I mean, Lollapalooza.
Woo!
2018.
Chicago. This was announced today.
Tickets are on sale now for Chicago's biggest concert, which will take place August 2nd through 5th. Tickets will start at $335 plus tax and fees for all 4 days, and includes a payment plan option for all you regular folks. The lineup includes, but is not limited to, The Weeknd, Bruno Mars, the aforementioned Jack White, the Arctic Monkeys, Vampire Weekend, Odessa, Logic, Post Malone, Khalid, Lil Uzi Vert, Portugal, The Man, Tyler, the Creator, Walk the Moon, Churches, St. Vincent, and Zed and Camila Cabello, and many, many more.
Yes, there has to be many more because this is a 4-day festival that takes place in Chicago Thursday through Sunday. I've already started talking with our friend Lily about possibly going, which is a pie in the sky idea.
Yeah, on this list, really, it would be cool to see Churches.
I know for you.
And like maybe if it, like I know Vampire Weekend is working on their 4th album right now, so if they play some new stuff, it'd be interesting.
Oh, I know I didn't mention this, but that Love, Simon film has a lot of Church's songs in it.
Really, it does?
Oh yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I'm surprised how much it was.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
yeah,
has 1975 in it too.
So, well. Someone I read a tweet. A hot take on Twitter this week. Somebody said that they think the 1975 is this generation's Vampire Weekend. And I was like, what does that even mean? What are these words?
Wait, what do you mean? Is it the Vampire Weekend this generation's Vampire Weekend?
I was kind of thinking that too. I was like, wait a minute. Are we really a generation out? And I'm like, yeah, I guess we kind of are.
Yeah.
Aren't we?
I guess so, because, like, Vampire Weekend was when we were in high school, and now, like, I
mean, I have coworkers, shout out to my coworkers, that are about 4 to 5 years younger than me, and their whole thing, they're like one of them is like often brings up the fact that he believes that we're in different generations.
Yeah.
Like that there's enough differences between us the millennials and even 5 years in that, and like from that, that apparently they qualify as a different generation.
I can
it
see
blows
it.
my mind.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what is happening? Are we getting old?
No, I can see that happening, because I know I've talked with other people about, like, oh, I remember listening to this song when I was in middle school.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what?
Wait.
This is college.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think we're starting to fully see that gap.
It's happening.
Yeah.
All right. It's gapping.
It's gapping.
It's gapping. All right, let's move out of music. So yeah, Lollapalooza, it's happening. It happens every year.
Last bits of music, though, I did listen to 2 new songs.
Yes, I was going to say, before we move all the way out, you listened to a couple of songs by some country artists.
Yes. So the first one is Jason Aldean, Rearview Mirror. This is not a Jason Aldean song.
Wait a minute. But Jason Aldean sings it.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Jason Aldean
is it written by A. Beavers?
No, it's not written by Justin Bieber.
No, Beavers.
No.
So there's a while where every time I saw a music video for a country song, it was written by somebody with the last name Beavers.
Oh, I don't know if it was.
You should look this up, because I'm pretty sure he was a very prolific country music writer, and I don't know if he still is. A man named Beavers.
Oh, okay, a man named
I think
Beavers.
he wrote a lot of Dierks Bentley songs.
I don't know.
Anyways, I'll have to look this up.
Anyways,
yes.
Yeah, so the reason I say that is because this is not a big rock song like Jason Aldean's known for.
Sure.
This is more of a slow song. This is in the same vein.
Is it a ballad?
Yeah, it's Burn It Down, but it's about leaving your town.
So Burn the Town Down?
Yeah, it's about not looking back in your rearview mirror.
Is that why it's called Rearview Town?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and Rearview Town, I believe, is going to be the name of the next album.
Uh-huh.
So it's the first single off of that.
It sounds like a country album.
Yeah.
Rearview Town.
But yeah, it sounds more like something Eric Church would sing.
It does. That sounds like an Eric Church song.
Yeah. But it's,
Okay.
It is what it is. I'm fine with it.
All right.
It's nothing to write home about, because, you're leaving it.
Yeah.
But it's okay. But the other song, the second Chris Stapleton song. I say second because I'm counting the one with Justin Timberlake. Even though that's based on
you
Justin Timberlake
don't mean second ever, because he has like multiple albums of music.
I know.
But yeah, so a new song by Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, new single by Chris Stapleton called
I Want Love.
I Want Love.
Well, does he want love?
Yes, and I wanted to give him love.
Is he gonna get it?
Oh, he's gonna get it all right. If he hasn't gotten it already, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it good.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
Cool.
I Want Love is a great song. This is definitely a wedding song. This is gonna be like our song without it's just our song.
Uh-huh.
It's really good. It's really great. Definitely give it a listen. If you like anything Chris Stapleton does, this is right up your alley. This is a perfect classic Chris Stapleton ballad.
Okay.
Not like ballad where it's just like him belting it out, but singing the guitar and just making you love every bit of it.
All right.
It's a great song.
Cool.
I'm happy it's out.
So check that out.
Yeah.
If you're a country music fan, there's 2 things to put in your iPod and
And shuffle.
And shuffle. Yeah, there we go. All right, moving out of music and into video games.
New releases.
We actually have some solid games this week. This is early in the year for massive games to start coming out, but here they are. Something for everybody this week. Xbox One owners get Sea of Thieves, Rare's pirate epic.
Yes, that came out yesterday.
Yes.
So if you have that Xbox One Game Pass, it's free for you right now. Go download it. Also, tell us why you're paying for this thing.
Yeah, also. Next up, it's kind of a good deal if you want to use it. Titan Quest will be out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The classic NES brawler Bad Dudes, where you rescue President Reagan, and he invites you to go get burgers at the end, is out on Switch. The sequel to Ni no Kuni, Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, hits PS4.
Yes, I know a couple friends who are really interested in that game because they loved the first Ni no Kuni.
Yeah, people like that game. I bounced right off of it. I rented it for a while, tried getting into it, and did not work for me.
I was told...
Too grindy. It was too grindy even RPG.
I was told to play it because I like that kind of RPG style.
You would like it.
I just never got into the White Witch.
Well, maybe we'll check out the sequel.
Yeah.
The 3DS would get Detective Pikachu.
Okay, so
finally.
I've yet to see a trailer for this thing.
Oh, you should look up a trailer for this thing.
I need to know what Pikachu sounds like.
He sounds like a gruff detective. It doesn't quite sound like Danny DeVito, but it's surprisingly close.
Okay.
That was my reaction when I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, they really went for like a gruff dude voicing Pikachu. It's super weird.
Okay.
So check that out. That's out this week. A Way Out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. You don't have that here, but it is a multi-platform.
Okay, the one Giant Bomb didn't have it down.
Yeah, that would be your couch co-op prison break game by the makers of Brothers.
Is it possible for us to get that game next?
I can move that in front of Detective Pikachu if you'd like me to.
Okay, I would like to get into that game. That seems very interesting to me.
Yeah.
In terms of concept-wise. And so I want to see how well it's executed.
Alrighty. Ooh, prison. Is that a prison joke? Executed?
Oh, no.
It is now.
It is now.
Alright. Dark. Let's move into video game news. First story is less of a video game story, more a general interest story, but it does directly influence retail video game sales.
Well, it's about games in general.
It's about toys and games, put it that way. Your childhood, a little bit of your childhood just died because Toys R Us is going bankrupt. After 70 years in business, the mascot giraffe, Jeffrey, is being set free. The company will shut or sell all of its 735 stores in the United States, and about 31,000 workers will be laid off. This is in addition to the 182 stores that had been closed since January. The company said it realized its plan to stay in business through the 2018 holiday season wouldn't work out, and now everything is up for sale.
Yeah, they realized that they could no longer compete with, Walmart, Target, which have like dedicated toy aisles, and then Amazon, where you can just get a game or a toy like literally the same day.
Yeah. The company has filed store closure notices that require a 60-day wait before they can get shut down. The company said it was closing all its stores in the UK, but hopes many of its stores in Canada, Europe, and Asia can remain alive as they remain strong, viable businesses that may be saved or sold, unlike here in the US, where most people have, like you said, switched over to online retailers.
Right. The projections that Toys R Us had for the 2017 holiday season was $250 million.
Ew.
That was the low-end projections that they wanted.
Yeah.
The what they actually made was $81 million.
Oh.
Which is a far cry from the low-end projections. So,
rough.
Yeah, Toys R Us was such a staple, not only for us, but for generations.
I was actually just going to ask you, do you have any personal, was Toys R Us your go-to place for games and toys and stuff?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Christmas was the Toys R Us big
Toys
book.
R Us catalog. That was probably the thing for me. We didn't actually go to our Toys R Us that often. We had it. We'd go occasionally, but really we got most of our stuff at the Target because it was local.
Well, see, because our Toys R Us was right next to our bank.
Yeah. So you go to the bank and you go to Toys R Us.
Yes, it was. If you sit here and behave, we'll walk through Toys R Us.
Nice. Yeah, Toys R Us always felt like me as a result as kind of like a special event.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like Target was like, oh, we're just going to the Target. But yeah, for some reason there was like a magical air to go inside the Toys R Us. It was something. It was always huge. There was always a billion toys, and it was just like easy to get like completely like swept up in it. It felt like a theme park.
It was that being able to just walk in and just see wall-to-wall toys.
Yeah.
What kid doesn't want to see wall-to-wall toys?
And another kind of thing that strikes in my memory, besides the catalog, is the contest that they'd have Nickelodeon would put on.
I was just about to put that.
For the has many toys as you can stick in your cart stuff.
Yes, yeah, you have a minute to run up and down the aisles to throw stuff in your cart.
I wish I remembered what website did it, but there was a really fascinating oral history story where they interviewed a kid, like obviously an adult now, that had won that sweepstakes, and it talked about his experience going through it, and like he broke down the rules and like what he was expected to do. They gave him a trial run before the official one just to see where things would be. Like he got to like scope out and get a strategy for what he would do, but it was totally legit. He got to keep every single thing that he could stick into the cart. Really? That much was real.
I know that that the Nickelodeon game shows would always have like $50 gift card to Toys R Us. Per contestant, and that was like, as a kid watching it, you're like, oh, I want to go on that game show and want to win that prize, and just that integration, like definitely helped sell Toys R Us two generations, to kids, to bug their parents to want to go to Toys R Us, and that marketing strategy definitely worked.
Yeah.
However, now in a digital age where you can look at stuff online and buy,
can't compete.
Yeah.
And they can't compete just because they can't beat instant gratification. It's the problem that the internet has always faced retail stores. It's just that retail stores cannot compete with instant gratification.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately now Toys R Us goes in the same way as Radio Shack and Mervin's and Circuit City and just Virgin Records and anything else that guy
Tower Records.
Tower Records.
And it's sad to see it go. It was meant to a lot of people, a lot of generations of kids swore by it. It'll be sad, but maybe in our hearts it will live on.
Yeah, definitely going to be in some college courses. Some marketing courses, some business, just some pop culture, some history courses as well. Definitely a big part of a lot of people's lives, and it's sad to see it go.
Yep. All right, the other big story this week in video games.
Oh, by the way, Toys R Us. It involves all Toys R Us brands, including Babies R Us.
Even though Babies R Us was the most successful branch in the later years.
Right.
It did really well because it was a dedicated baby store.
Mm-hmm. But they're still under the Toys R Us brand, so it's all done.
The only time I've been to a Babies R Us was to get pacifiers.
I think you told me that. There was so by my grandparents'
You can guess why.
I know who it was for.
Do you though?
I have two guesses. And the first one's not Riley.
No, it's not. Anyways. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna say that there's a Toys R Us by my grandparents' house.
Yeah.
That turned into a that turned into a joint Toys R Us Babies R Us, and then eventually Babies R Us just overtook it.
That happened to one of our local ones too.
Yeah,
it just became a Babies R Us.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways,
moving on to another big video game story this week. GDC, the Game Developers Conference.
That is happening. Happened.
Technically, it's still happening, though the show is wrapped up, and today was the awards.
Okay.
The IGF, I forget what the actual awards are that they do at GDC. But yeah, those are happening right now as I speak, I think. But yes, GDC happened in this year. And
as in San Francisco this year.
And a movement, and I'm glad you covered this story because I've been following this on Twitter, this kind of going on. A movement, not necessarily a company, you have company here, but it's more of a movement made of several employees from other companies.
It's on, there's a whole like Twitter hashtag to this thing.
Happening right now at GDC is called Game Workers Unite is making some waves. They're currently forming an organization of people who are dedicated to unionizing the game industry, supporting the building of unions for developers.
Right, and this is something that we've actually touched on when it comes to like people being let go from companies.
Yeah. And
people like moving and being sued. But now,
there are no unions in most studios, which makes it really difficult.
Right. I think the most we actually covered this was when the voice actors went on strike.
Correct, yes.
How they were part of a union, and yet other game developers are not. Game developers are not. So
the quote here from, you don't have it who's it from, but a quote from a representative. Said, "We represent all workers in game development, and we seek to increase the visibility of our case through community building, sharing resources, and direct action. At the moment, their website is filled with stories of exploitation and harassment at game studios, and they will be trying to garner more campaigns during the show." One of the more prominent leaders of this is designer of my favorite game of 2017, Night in the Woods, Scott Benson. Scott Benson has been doing kind of legwork. He's been handing out flyers and zines representing the Game Workers Unite movement. He's been talking a lot on Twitter about it. And even the game itself, towards the end of Night in the Woods, there's a little bit about labor the politics in that game, and its commentary in itself about workers and workers' rights and what will happen to a city when their workers are not treated well. So something he sincerely believes in, and it's really cool that he's bringing visibility as part of this movement for unionization. I'm all for it. So I hope that stuff goes well for them.
Yeah, I think both of us hope that they definitely form a union in order to protect these people, because as we've covered on this podcast, that game developers and game designers get worked overtime. Sometimes don't get paid. Sometimes payments are late. Sometimes they skip them.
They can't organize enough to talk about residuals like the voice actors did. They don't have the wherewithal yet, and they would with more unions and more organization.
Right. The fear, however, of unionizing is that, then you'll lose out on contracts. You have someone bidding on the side of you instead of getting your own.
Ultimately, it does become, do these benefits outweigh the negatives? And I think they do.
I think we're getting to the point where they do.
However, they've been very quick to already start shooting this down.
Yeah.
So hopefully some of the larger studios that get on board, which will influence some of the medium to small studios to get on board as well. But we'll see what happens.
Right. It will definitely be interesting to see if this will somehow get the visual effects artist people to also either be by proxy, because they do deal with pretty much a lot of
crossover there.
A lot of crossover, a lot of the same technology, a lot of the same work ethic in terms of, say a computer X amount of hours using computer graphics, using computer programs in order to execute specific movements and specific details. So because there's a lot of crossover, it'd be interesting if they include that, or if by proxy they somehow get both of them to form a union, a digital production union.
It could happen. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to
Pie in the Sky ideas.
Another story here about storied name.
Atari.
I say
Atari.
name, not company. Atari is actually Japanese, not Italian. Fun fact.
Atari.
It's apparently a term that originates from the game Go.
Oh, really?
Atari. Yeah. Huh. Atari has yet another crowdsourced campaign because they can't make their own money, on Indiegogo, and it's coming to fruition with the Atari VCS, a new console that will be debuted this week at GDC in San Francisco. The console has both a modern controller, similar to an Xbox, but also a modernized joystick like the original Atari consoles. The console itself is an open Linux-based software where people can game, stream, and browse with as much freedom as possible. This sounds like copy that Atari wrote. And access pre-owned games from other content providers. A pre-order date for the console will be announced sometime in April. But for now, we have to wait until their official reveal to see if there is a hook or meets some demand in order to not turn out like the Ouya.
Yeah, it's the console itself. They showed it off.
Yeah, this is not new news. They announced this thing a while ago, but yeah, they're showing it off.
Well, yeah, I think a while ago it was just the Atari console. I think is what they were.
Yeah, I don't know if
it was Atari something.
Yeah,
but yeah, the official name is out now. They're trying to get into the console business for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason is the key word here.
Yeah, I looked up the console. It looks like an Atari 2600, but sleeker.
Yeah.
And with a bright orange bar. The controller looks like an Xbox controller, except there's an orange light bar down the middle. The updated joystick is basically the exact same thing, just matted black with bright orange. It looks cool, but outside of being a novelty thing, it's really a waste of time.
Yeah, they're trying, but it just sounds like an Ouya kind of situation where it's just a set-top box.
Yeah, unless they can find some way to where you can say, I own this game, therefore I don't want to pay for it again.
Maybe, but that's not a money-making enterprise. That's a money-losing enterprise.
Yeah.
So no, I have no positivity about this. I think that this is a bad idea, and I think Atari has no idea what they're doing anymore.
No.
I say that even knowing that the Atari is not obviously the same Atari from when Atari mattered.
I know.
So yeah, it's complicated. But yeah, that's dumb. Moving on. Guess what?
What?
Ubisoft. We have good news from the French developer Ubisoft.
Oh, yes.
The long national nightmare is over. Vivendi plans to sell its entire stake in Ubisoft instead of chasing after the rest of it.
So, yeah, for the last year and a half, we've covered Vivendi trying to acquire the entirety of Ubisoft.
They tried and failed to buy Ubisoft
several times, actually.
And and now are just giving up. They're selling their stake, representing 27% of Ubisoft share capital. The shares will be bought back by Ubisoft and shared amongst its shareholders and the Guillemot brothers, who we mentioned before as shareholders in the company, including Yves Guillemot, their famed designer.
Right.
As part of the transaction, Ubisoft and Tencent, Tencent being
Tencent, the Chinese company.
Chinese company that co-owns actually a lot of video game companies already.
Yes.
Have also announced a partnership that will significantly accelerate their reach in China. That's cool.
Yep. It's nice to see, a win for a big studio.
Yeah.
Usually we always root for the small guys, but in this case, Ubisoft,
they're not even that big anymore.
No.
They used to be. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see them not being so, because they wanted to remain independent, and I think, like we discussed before, the independent nature of Ubisoft allows them to do more experimental things, like your Beyond Good and Evil 2s,
right? The first Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, like the original Assassin's Creed.
Even what they're trying to do right now with Far Cry 5.
Yeah. They're allowed to take risks now that they maybe wouldn't be if they had a large corporate owner. So this is overall good news for Ubisoft. They didn't want a big owner. They wanted to remain independent. So this is a win for them.
Yes. And hopefully this will, in turn, be a win for gamers.
Yeah.
As not only, like you said, more experimental games come out,
yeah,
but they're able to craft their own stories that they want to tell and not be tied to either, you have to have X in your game or Y in your game, or they need to have, X, Y, Z, or we won't, fund you.
Right.
This is definitely good.
It's a win-win.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for video game news. Before we wrap up the video game segment, we've been playing some games. We've been playing a lot of Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
We won't be getting too far into that, but we also been playing a new release. Well, a remastered new release. We've been playing a lot of Burnout Paradise Remastered.
Yes. I have been streaming that on Twitch. The first of that is up currently. I will be getting back into it probably tomorrow, I want to say.
Yeah, check that out because it's a lot of fun. I missed Burnout Paradise when it came out on the 360. It was kind of at that time in my life where I was kind of looking for jobs and I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend. It just hit at the exact wrong time for me. I was going into college. Like, I was in my first year of college, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, it wasn't a time where I was playing a lot of video games. So yeah, I completely missed the boat, even though I loved Burnout. Burnout 3 is one of my favorite games. It's amazing. It's so much fun. And so yeah, the fact that I totally skipped Burnout Paradise was just something just insane. And now that I get to play it, oh man, did I miss out.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
I was in that same vein, but my problem was that I had already committed to the Need for Speed franchise.
Oh, you picked the wrong horse.
Yeah. I turned that back to the wrong horse because as you know, I would look up new updates and see what was like getting new releases, new DLC. It was always Burnout that was coming out with new content every 2 weeks. And I was like,
they did a year of paradise following the release of that game.
Yeah.
And put out DLC free for the entirety of the following year.
Yeah. See, and I knew that, but just I could never make the switch. I never wanted to make the switch because I purchased Need for Speed. I was set with it. I was like, okay, I don't it's the same game to me, but having played it, it's a lot more fun.
So yeah, like Burnout, if you're not super familiar, it's all about super top speeds, cars that really crash, like crumple up like paper if they hit a wall or another car. It's about taking down other cars against walls and making huge jumps and doing crazy drifts. It's like Burnout is every fun thing you've ever done in an arcade racer, just thrown at you constantly.
It's as if Zack Snyder and Michael Bay made a video game.
But it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paradise is really cool because it combines all of that with an open world that you can explore and kind of choose your events different stops that you come to. It's really open-ended. You get to choose what events you do at what times. There's no linear progression at all. There's lots of cars to choose from. There's an entire island of DLC, like besides the existing island in the core game. Mm-hmm. It's just so much game. It's on PS4 and Xbox One right now, the remastered edition. It looks beautiful, it plays great. It has all the online functions that the original one did, so you can posse up with friends online. No local multiplayer, unfortunately, but online multiplayer is an option. And it's $40. $40 for the whole package, all DLCs included. So check that out. That sounds cool.
$40 for a complete Game of the Year edition game. Yeah,
it was a no-brainer for me. It was I wanted to play this game. I know I'd like it. I didn't know I'd like it this much. It's a ton of fun. So check that out if you like racing games at all. It's a fun arcade racer.
Yeah. You said everything I was going to say.
Well, there's not a whole lot going on.
Well, no, it's racing.
You get what it says. It does what it says on the label.
Yeah,
essentially.
And especially if you really like Paradise City.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Guns N' Roses song "Paradise City" is played a lot.
It's constantly played.
Along with Avril Lavigne's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Hey, you. I don't like your girlfriend. But yeah, so check that out.
Yeah, or you could just put Spotify on.
I haven't played. I said I was going to try to play some Kirby Star Allies. Did not get to. Although I did play the demo. If you have a Switch, there's a free demo for the new Kirby game, Kirby Star Allies. Check that out. It's 2 levels, full levels of the game. It seems like a fun Kirby game with some cool combination powers that you can do. So it seems like a lot of fun. Next week we'll be back with a new game. We're either going to play some Detective Pikachu for you or some Way Out, or maybe both. So check that out. And
depending on scores for Way Out, I may just buy it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
We'll see.
I don't recommend it until we know more about it. Though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
But with that brings us to the end. Then
we'll wrap it up for video games and wrap it up for the Media Boat Podcast.
So let's wrap this up.
All right. So Thank you for joining us. We will be back next Wednesday with a new show. We're live every Wednesday on YouTube at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time. You can find us by searching YouTube Media Boat Podcast and subscribe to our page with that little bell so you get notifications whenever we go live.
Which is always Wednesday
on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific. If you want to hear our audio version of our podcast, we are supported by Podbean. You can find us on Apple Podcasts by searching Media Boat Podcast. You can also find us on similar podcast delivery services through our RSS feed. You can find us on MediaBoatPodcast.com, where all our writing is, where we have coverage about new movies, television shows, video games, and music as they come out, our opinions, our thoughts about them, and as well as features that go up every week, such as box office numbers for every weekend and new releases every Friday. You can also help us out financially on Patreon.com. You can donate as little as $1 a month. That helps us make this content even better for you guys, and you get exclusive shows that we haven't even made yet just for our patrons, so check that out. You can find us on social media. We're on Twitter at MediaBoatCast. We're on Facebook, search Media Boat Podcast and find our page and like it and comment whatever the hell you do on Facebook now. Don't lose your personal data, though. I hear that's going down lately.
Yeah, apparently Mark Zuckerberg sold like almost half of his shares 3 weeks ago before all this came down.
Good timing.
Yeah.
But we're not a tech podcast, so we won't cover that.
We cover tech stuff.
Adjacent. Or tech adjacent.
Yeah.
That I think wraps it up. Oh yeah, Twitch.tv is where you can find streams such as our Burnout Paradise Remastered streams. So check that out as well. Search Media Boat Podcast on Twitch.tv. That'll do it. So catch us next week. Oh, last thing. We recently wrapped up our Pixar Madness podcast.
You do that every single time.
Because you have to. You can't just say the word madness without doing that.
Madness.
News. Our Pixar Madness, our special March Madness show where we ranked all 19 of the Pixar films, has wrapped up. We did it. We ranked all 16 of the films. You can catch the final episode that will go up tomorrow on Thursday. It's insane. You won't believe what's number one. It sounded like a BuzzFeed article.
I know, but 2.5. We did an hour and a half just arguing.
Yep,
2 hour everything should
finale.
fall.
So check that out if you like Pixar movies and want to check out what we think about every Pixar movie. All 4 episodes will be up tomorrow. The 4th and final episode debuts tomorrow.
If you go to the gym and just want to listen to us
talk about Pixar
just break down every Pixar film and just
it gets
argue.
Brutal. Just a warning, it gets brutal toward the end.
I know.
All right, so that'll wrap it up. We gotta go because my laptop's gonna die. So see you guys next week.
Okay, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week, 8 o'clock, right here on YouTube or on your iTunes feed, your RSS feed. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, let me plug this in.
All right, well, there's no one. Just
plug it in.
Doctor listens to us, only tunes in with, the sports section. Which is weird for everyone. For everything, you just comment on the sports stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Like we said, we're live every week at 8 p.m.
It's true.
And you can log on and chat with us live. We will answer your questions live. If you have additional
go
comments, call or go online.
Call or go online.
What's that number again?
The Dell guy used to do that.
I thought you were doing the Ryan Seacrest thing.
No. Remember, that's 866 numbers, not 1-800 numbers. It's okay. No, we need to go. Bye. Okay, bye.